Okay, Paolo, what do you make of what's going on here? That's really quite damning testimony from Bill Taylor, who's also released a statement about what he had to say to those Democrat-led committees.
Good. Okay. It depends who's watching and who's listening to all this. Inside Washington, this is pretty terrible. And again, the accusation against President Trump of abusing his office basically by, how can I say, making pressure on a foreign leader for personal objectives.
Absolutely, that's the big deal, isn't it?
Not for national security or for economic or business interests. In other words, that you would use leverage against vis-a-vis a foreign leader because you want them to do something that complies with American wishes. But this is really about essentially a personal matter, his own campaign, finding dirt on his, it seemed at that moment at least, principal political challenger, former Vice President Joe Biden, who's contending for the Democratic nomination for the presidential elections of 2020. So one would say, oh my God, this is pretty bad. So he did this, and did he break the law? Well, maybe that's a possibility. But then, again, let's step back and move away from Washington, D.C. and from the proverbial Beltway. Do people really care that much about this? To be honest with you, I don't think so. I don't think that American public opinion, except for those who hate Trump anyway, any time of day, for whatever reasons, and would like to see him impeached, demoted, imprisoned, whatever you want to say, I don't really think that this issue, as damning as this evidence is, rises to the level of an impeachable offense. Several weeks ago, this was before this testimony, but when the facts of the matter were pretty clear anyway, I took notice of that. Senator Rob Portman of Ohio, who's a pretty smart man, who's been in government for many years, who was the U.S. trade representative and a very astute and thoughtful and intelligent person, he said on this whole matter of Ukraine, this is really bad. The president shouldn't have done this. This is a horrible thing, but I don't believe it's an impeachable offense. Okay, and I suspect that this is probably taking the temperature of his own constituents. He's from Ohio, that says, yeah, this is a bad stuff, but hey, are we going to remove him from office for this? That's the question. And the Democrats, who obviously want to go ahead with the impeachment, need 20 Republican senators to join them in order to have Trump convicted, because you need a majority of 2/3, that's 67 senators, which they don't have. I doubt that the Democrats can peel off from Trump 20 senators. They may be 5, 6, 7, maybe 10, but I don't think they can get to 20. Not because they don't have a valid argument, but because I'm afraid that the argument does not resonate as much as they would like with Middle America.
Sure. Okay, so let's say he doesn't get impeached and he stands for re-election. Can you see any Democrat able to beat him? I'll just tell you, my analysis is not important, but I think this is a kind of an interesting point, that the Democrats seem to be policy wonks. Okay, they're talking about healthcare, they're talking about reforming tax systems, they're talking about big, big issues. And Donald Trump says, hey, look at me. Let me talk to you, to your heart. Can anybody beat a president that talks directly to a person's face and addresses the issues that are in that person's heart?
I doubt it. And again, keep in mind that these policy wonks are also, many of them, including Elizabeth Warren, which is almost at the top of the polls right now, want to essentially redo the American economy. Tax this, do that, redistribute that, change corporate structures, change competition laws, forgive student debt. I mean, certain things which are so far to the left in an American context, maybe in Europe, in other places, wouldn't be so strange. But in America, these things look really bizarre, that she's so removed the party, an expression, so to speak, of the left wing of the party, that many Americans, in particular those in the middle, who finally decide who gets elected, the uncommitted, the non-registered voters, who will say, wait a minute, the man in the White House seems to be a bit bizarre. But look at that. Economy growing between 2% and 3%. Unemployment 50-year low. We're doing okay. We're the largest energy producer. He deregulated the economy. He lowered corporate taxes. Sounds pretty good to me. and these people want to redo the economy and maybe change my economic status because I'm middle class and what have you, maybe not this time. You know, the man in the White House is a bit strange, but he's not crazy. These people are nuts, and I don't want them in the White House. So I don't know if that's enough. And as I said, maybe there's more in this impeachment inquiry. Maybe there's more damning evidence. But if this is the most that the Democrats can throw at Trump, as bad as it is, and we should all agree that it is bad, the president shouldn't be doing and shouldn't be dreaming of doing these things, let alone doing them, I think that you know, he may get a pass.
Okay, just finally, we're doing. I'm asking you to do a lot of supposing. So we're supposing he's not going to be impeached. We're supposing that he stands for re-election, which obviously he will if he's not impeached. So let's suppose he wins. How do you see Trump in the second term when he doesn't have that pressure of re-election on him? Many people in the world are like, we will not be looking forward to those 4 years.
I suspect it will be more of the same.
Not worse?
No, I think that's what he is. I don't think he has a plan for the second term. I know, you know, he wants to do his stuff. He wants the wall on the Mexico border. He wants to change immigration laws, etc. But the reality is, in America, of divided government. And so, you know, unless he has full control of both houses in the Congress, the House of Representatives and the Senate, you know, there's preciously little that a president can do on his own, except in foreign policy, where he has more leverage and more freedom of movement. But in domestic politics, he needs the concurrence of both branches of the Congress. There's no other way around. He cannot sidestep the Constitution, at least, but we'll see. Maybe he's going to try that one too, but we haven't seen that yet.
What an absolute pleasure to get your analysis, both on the American position in Syria and also what's happening with the impeachment inquiry.